Hello and welcome to video 2 and welcome back from spring break. I hope you had a great spring break, got some relaxation in, maybe caught up on everything. There's a couple assignments due this week I don't want you to forget about. We'll talk about that towards the end. This week we're migrating to HuggingFace, and I don't like teaching any particular one website or any one particular tool or any one particular thing. But with HuggingFace, I think it's important to understand what you can do. Because even if HuggingFace went away, which I don't think it will, there's other tools out there that are being developed that are very similar, but it's just HuggingFace has a dominant share of the market, and it's phenomenally well. It's phenomenal, great. It took me 6 months before I really fell in love with HuggingFace, and I'm giving you a little extra time this week so you can actually go through and play and look at models and look at spaces on HuggingFace, and maybe you'll find something that's interesting to you. That's what I'm hoping. So today we're just going to go, we don't have spaces on here, but we're going to do transformers, pipelines, models, and basically spaces. So one of the things that really makes Hugging Space and transformers particularly game-changing is the fact that you can load one library and get access to hundreds of thousands of models, data sets, all different types of things. This simple event, this simple method of doing things has made life 10 times easier for people that do computer stuff. And it's actually made it so simple that non-computer people can really use transformers. Okay, aside from the transformer paper and all the past, transformers at the end of the day is a 1 to 2 line import, and boom, you have access to literally not quite a million, but millions of models, data sets, ways to analyze your data that you may never have thought about, and or that you may be having problems getting to the goal. So that's what's really amazing about transformers and Hugging Face. Now, this quote, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. This is really, I think, what sets Hugging Face apart from anything else now or before on the internet. So I use GitHub. I love GitHub. GitHub's a great place, a great software repository. And there's other programs just as good as GitHub, and there's other things that aren't quite as good as GitHub. But when GitHub came along, it allowed a central repository where multiple programmers could work on a large website, a large project, and push their changes. And if two people happen to work on a same code, it will say, hey, this, Richard did this and John did this. Let me merge them and not cause a big collision. GitHub can also deploy it nowadays to other sites, or to, I guess that's right. So GitHub really changed the way that we work in a team, but it didn't really allow us to create models like machine learning models and data sets. GitHub, not including large GitHub, but had like 100 meg file limit, which is just not practical for a lot of machine learning things. There's Google Kaggle. Kaggle is amazing. I love Kaggle. If you really want to learn how to program and want to take your programming to the next level, do Kaggle. A lot of you are aware of what Kaggle is, but basically it's a programming competition or data science competition site where somebody will post a data set. They'll hide some of the data and say, hey, here's my goal to get to X or to get to Y, and here's the data you have. Help me get to Y. And in terms of learning, it's phenomenal. But it's not really a place to share models. It's not really a place to share everything. For a learning site, if you do Kaggle a few times a week for a year, 2 years, you'll be a phenomenal programmer. You'll be one of the best programmers, in Nevada. With most data sets in Kaggle, you get a little sample notebook, and then you kind of play with it, try to improve it, and next day, 2 or 3 days later, you try and improve it. 2 or 3 days later, you're trying to improve it. Boom. Eventually, over a year and reading comments and learning about statistics and programming, you'll start ranking higher and higher. So Kaggle is a great site for learning, but not so much for like sharing data. That's where Hugging Face is really different. I can publish a data set or a model, and somebody else across the world can import it using transformers and another line, another command, without any hassle. I can take my data set, no matter how esoteric, and let other people use it relatively easy. And that right there is what making Hugging Face so strong and so phenomenal. And remember, it's not a chat forum like Reddit or BB forums. It's not any of these things. It's a way that I can solve a problem and share my solution with somebody else that's maybe doing something similar. I can improve on somebody else's model and republish that data. So I really encourage you to spend an hour or two this week kind of playing around, getting to know Hugging Face much better. Like I said, the first couple times I used Hugging Face, I just used it for spaces, nothing else. I didn't care about anything else. Then I moved to data sets, and I'm going to show you pipelines. Pipelines will blow your mind. Just absolutely amazing what pipelines can do. And like I said, that's not even the models. It's just Hugging Face can do so much. I really encourage you to look at it, because now, 6 months from now, 2 years from now, it will help you achieve your goals. And in business, that's the name of the game. Achieving the goals. Here's a data set. Here's a question. What's the answer? So let's discuss pipelines, because pipelines is nice in the middle. We have kind of spaces that sits above it, and we have models that kind of sit below it, okay? Pipelines in the middle. And one way to think of pipelines is a very it's high-level abstraction, okay? So what do I mean by that? That means that with models and, with BERT topic and NLTK and Space UI, we had to load stuff, we had to do a bunch of stuff to get it to work. Pipelines, no. Pipelines, you'll see in 3 or 4 lines, you can get action right now. You can get results right now. No need to download things, no need to mess around. You can test the hypotheses in 5 lines of code, okay? I have a notebook here, but there's a million different, I could spend 2 weeks, 3 weeks going over each one of these topics, okay? So I guess let's jump into the notebook really quick. Let me do that really quick here. Okay, so here's a little link to how you do it. Basically, from transformers, import pipeline. Then you tell, hey, I want to do text generation, which is that task. And the model I want to use is, I'm just using this GPT-2. There's other models. You can search for them, you can find them. Then I'm going to give it, say, this was just the last question before my video died. Who's Henry Ford and why is he important? And it gives me a response. Okay, so let's run this. I should stop that. Oh, yes, it's fine. Run. Okay, so let's change the question. Who is Henry Ford generator? What color is the sky? I'm going to keep it simple. Let me get the length down here. Okay, let's think of something better here. Make it a little longer reply. We have it give me 3 answers, and then let's say finish. How about finish? I cannot type here. Finish this thought. If computers keep advancing at, sorry about the spelling, at this rate, in 25 years, the world, Okay, so right there is a nice little, 250 word token response. I mean, look at that. Just, literally one, so let's say this is one line, 2 lines, plus the import for pipeline, 3 lines. Let me think of another response. I just thought of one. Just saw an email pop up. And I just want one response. Give me a paragraph. That might be too big. I don't know. Let's see. But you see, literally, you can do an LLM generator, a text generation with 3 lines of code. That is absolutely amazing. And that's just one of many, many, many tasks that pipelines can do. And it's one of many models. There's all different types of models. So here's the response. Okay, so, interesting. So now here's classification. So this is zero-shot classification. So with the machine not really understanding the context and generally the text, the corpus of what I'm going to ask it, it has to kind of take a guess at, I'm going to ask it something and it has to kind of classify it. I'm going to throw an easy one because I just want to show you. So this is a tweet about politics, and it has to say, hey, this is about politics, public health, economics, or sports. So again, that would be a 3-line way to test something. And it says politics. It should say politics. Yeah, politics. Which makes sense. Okay. Let's tweet about COVID and its effects on the public. There you go. See how it changes? So, again, normally, what would we have to do to get this to work? We'd have to download a model. We'd have to download, an encoder and stuff. We'd have to do a bunch, because you've been doing it for the last couple homework assignments. That's what makes this pipelines amazing. Now, let's try something a little different. This is something I don't normally do because I don't normally play MP3s. So here is an MP3. Okay, so it can do more than just text. This is what makes pipelines amazing, okay? So it's downloading an MP3 I recorded like 2 or 3 hours ago. Here's an MP3. Let me see if I can turn up the volume. This is a demo for HuggingFace to see if it can transcribe my voice. Okay, we don't need any more. So this is, should be like file.mpeg. Yeah, test1.mpeg. Okay? So I just call it transcriber. Can you do your magic on that? Oh, sorry about that. Again, with pipelines, you have to call kind of what it is and the task. I want automatic speech recognition. Boom. And then let's do this. It might take a second to download. It can work on MP3s, FLAC, AACs, a bunch of different, or ACCs, whatever they are, a bunch of different things. And the thing is, just to show you that this works, the computer's never really heard my voice before, or at least this model has never heard my voice. So it's not like I'm Kennedy, JFK, speaking on a podium. It's not like I'm President Trump or Reagan or Biden, and it's used to the way I speak. This is not a famous speech. It's something I recorded just a little bit ago. This is a demo for HuggingFace. So it says that my MP3, I say, this is a demo for HuggingFace to see if I can transcribe my voice. There are many different applications for such a tool. Is that what I said? This is a demo for HuggingFace to see if it can transcribe my voice. There are many different applications for such a tool, and the fact that Pipeline makes this very easy is amazing. So, 3 lines of code, I could basically now write software, or I could take a call center's logs, hey, this call is recorded for quality assurance, whatever they say. I could take all that, transcribe it, and then run sentiment analysis through it. Are my agents being polite? Are my customers mad? I could take all those recorded calls, all those MP3s, and do named entry record NER, NER, and figure out, hey, are they talking about a particular location, another business? Or, hey, I bought this from Amazon, but I know if I bought it from Walmart, this wouldn't happen. I can do that now. That might be a little bit more than 3 lines of code, but not more than 10 lines of code. Just think about this. You could go to a study group, you can record, or, if you have your permission, you can record your teacher in a class, the whole lecture, an hour lecture, hour and a half lecture, and transcribe it with 3 lines of Python using HuggingFace. This is amazing. This is amazing. Just think about all the applications of what you do. In the last video, I showed you a little bit of Ultrex. Ultrex is great software, but it's expensive. It's $5,000 or $10,000 a year with all the bells and whistles. It's probably up around 20 grand a year. You can do a lot of the same stuff right here. At least with the text processing and the other things. Maybe be a little bit more specific. Just think, if you could take a song, transcribe it, and see how many of Drake's songs, the sentiment analysis, or how many times he cusses, or does Taylor Swift, are her live concerts more happy than this, or what does people say that every political speech? And there's just so many things you can do with this, and it's 3 lines of code, 4 lines of code. Amazing. And like I said, this is not so famous. It's something I recorded a couple of hours ago. So here's a picture I shot that's never really been up on the internet. It's a picture of a cow, moo moo, right here. So the model's never been trained on this. The model's really never seen this. It doesn't know what anything is. So I'm going to use this model right here, visual question and answer, and I'm going to play 20 questions with this. So the first thing I'm going to ask you, see I ran it earlier, what is this a picture of? A cow. Look at that. Can you see any cars in this picture? So we can ask HuggingFace via pipelines about this image or any image. Is there a bottle of Pepsi in this image? No, 97% sure. Is there an eagle in this picture eating a fish? What color is the cow? That'll be interesting. Probably comes out red, brown, or something else like that. I didn't even see the eagle response. Brown. 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of code. 4 lines of code to do that. Now, if I was to do that with OpenCV, it's much, much more complex. Much more complex. But 4 lines of code, now you can test something. Maybe I want to read I think I call it ear tag. Maybe I want to read the ear tag on the cow. Maybe I want to set up a video surveillance system somewhere or outside my property. Say I have a lot of land. And I want to track all the cows coming and going on my land. Boom. 10 lines of code. Just think about the business aspect of this. And this goes back to what the discussion topic is. How can these things really impact business? So now I do have this. I wanted to show you some other things. Okay, so we go here. Sorry, it's so small. Okay, so what can pipelines do? Audio classification, automatic speech recognition. You saw that one in action. Zero-shot audio classification, text to audio. This one's a cool one. I didn't demo this, but basically you can type something out. There's a couple really neat spaces like this. type something out in a couple different languages even, and it will speak those words. Just like Siri or Google or whoever, Alexa, it will speak those words. Computer vision, depth estimation, image segmentation, video classification pipeline, zero-shot object detection, fill mask pipeline. So the quick brown mask blank over the lazy dog, it will fill that in. Summarization. So I just grab all my phone calls, run it through the the automatic speech recognition, and then I can do summaries on all that text, because you can take a pipeline and go to another pipeline. Boom. Well, now we're at 5 lines of code. Amazing. Multimodal, visual questioning and answering pipeline, feature extraction. So like I said, there's a lot that can be done with pipelines. I really want you to kind of at least get an understanding of pipelines. So now let's talk about models. So if pipeline's kind of the middle of the road, models are a little lower level, a little bit more, I don't want to say complex, but you have to kind of download them. You might have to have dependencies. You might have to install other parts of Python. But the thing is, you can train them. You can do more. There's a lot you can do with models. Okay, with models, I'm going to talk a little bit about access tokens and API tokens and SSH tokens. Okay, so rule number 1, never share your access tokens. Rule number 2, never post your access tokens. So if you have an access token, don't push embedded in a notebook. Don't push it to GitHub. There are software programs and packages right now that scan GitHub all the time looking for these tokens. Same thing with anywhere they can find them, because if I get access to your tokens and you have a credit card on file, then I can train a malicious model and make it look like you did. So never ever post your access tokens, never share your access tokens, never do anything. Now, this used to be a little bit harder because you used to have to set an OS environmental variable. With Colabs, it makes it a lot easier because you can put a secret in Colab and boom, easy peasy. So let me show you how to do that real quick, okay? So, oops, I'll go back. Nice, it doesn't matter. So we go right here. So we go right up here to the picture view, or me, or whoever. We go settings. And then we go access tokens. New token. And let's name this MIS769, the name of our class. You want read and write. For this, I'm just going to do read. Sometimes you need write when you need to have memory, and like you're using a chat GPT bot or some type of chat bot, and you need to have read and write capabilities so it can remember things, or you maybe want to upload a model. There's a lot of reasons, but for now I'm just going to do read. Generate a token. Boom, I have a read token. I'm going to show you my read token because I'm going to delete it. But I'm just going to copy this. That's Control C, but copy. And then I'm going to go over here and okay, I have it in here too. And there's a couple different ways to do this. You can do a name and password in here. You can put an access token manually in here. There's a couple different ways of doing it. But since we're using Colab, Colab has a beautiful method of doing it. Okay, on my local machine, you make a file and do that. Okay, so I'm going to click on this little key. Boom, right there's my token. So I just have to name it, class. Let me just delete this one, it's an old one. So it's like HuggingFace, it should be this one, because that's what HuggingFace expects. But I'm just going to call it MIS769 token, or whatever. And just paste that in there. Boom. And then if I want this notebook to have access to it, I turn it on. If I don't, I turn it off. Now whenever I share this notebook, I get to keep my token, you get to keep your token, because Google kind of manages it, and it just kind of goes in the notebook. The easiest way to explain that, okay? Let me delete that token really quick. Manage, invalidate, refresh. Actually, yes. You need to do that or delete it. I was going to show you both. It doesn't really matter. Gone. Boom, it's gone. So then I'm just going to delete it from here, and I'm not going to show you my actual token. So that's just a little key. Actually, let me change my runtime. It won't matter. I just want to put a faster runtime so I'm not here all day. Run all. So this is actual a model. Oh, something else I just thought of too. With models, and with this particular model, you're going to have to accept it. So with Hugging Face, certain models are gated. Richard, what is gated? Gated is the idea that you have to agree to something in order to get access to that model. Well, why do they do that? Maybe they want you to promise that you're not going to do anything bad with this model. That failure to say was driving me over the edge. Okay, let's see here. Hugging Face. So I can't show you because I already signed that one gated model. But what will happen is you'll see this. You need to agree to share your contact information to access this model. So I have to hit agree. And you have to do the same thing for Google. There we go. And Google might ask you like, hey, don't do any bad things. But basically, once you do that, you have access to that. That is why you need the API key or the token. Okay? So, let me go back here to Hugging Face. We'll go over this slide here in a second. Okay, so remember with pipelines, I didn't have to download any of this stuff. And actually, I don't even know if I need to download half this, but still. Like if you hit the Google 7 billion, it takes considerably long. I mean, look at that. I have to download 5 gigs. With pipelines, I didn't have to do that. So I'm going to pause this for a second. I'm going to let it download, and then I'm going to come up with a better question. Okay, that took a minute or two to load, but nothing crazy. So I just found a better question while I was looking for something else. Now remember, with a model, I have a lot more flexibility. I can fine-tune it or retrain it. I can do more because it's a lower level. You know, the one way to think about it is tokens 5,000. I think that will work. With my vehicle and a friend of mine's vehicle, who happens to have the same birthday as me, he has a BMW, and he has this like thing where he can set 500 different variables on his car. I can't do that with my car. Okay, he can set all types of crazy parameters and this, and just amazing what he can do. Now for me, I've never needed to do that for my vehicle. So he has a lot lower level access to his vehicle's operating system. Just as a model, you have a lot lower access to the computer system, okay, to the model, to the training, to the weights. Not necessarily weights, but... So I'm going to stop this one right here. We'll run it. And that might take a second to run. Sorry about that. So... While that runs, I'm going to keep teaching a little bit and go over the difference between the models and pipelines, just high-level stuff. Then we can come back to this answer. So now, in terms of Hugging Face, particularly because models and pipelines can mean different things in like Python and Bash and everything. But particularly in terms of Hugging Face, a model is basically a pre-trained neural network that has been developed for a specific task, okay, such as sentiment analysis, named entry recognition, language translation, things like that. Pipeline is a higher level abstraction, a higher, easier way to access that model for a very specific task. There's even one level higher called spaces, which basically is like a website interface. Okay, that's why I want to start with pipelines, because it's a good middle of the ground. When I'm looking at a new project, new thing, a lot of times I'll use pipelines to test it. Is this feasible? Can I take 10 rows of this data and get a sentiment analysis? Then I can improve it down the road. But it's just something that I can functionally do and that will work without me spending a lot of time. And remember too, with pipelines, you can go from one pipeline to another pipeline to another pipeline, which is very, very, very powerful. I didn't demonstrate that, but it is very powerful. Now let's keep moving forward to spaces. Spaces have been kind of acting up for me today, but in a nutshell, spaces is a place where you can take a model, basically have the public or have other people ask questions or interact with it in a very programmatic, very simple method, okay? Now that I don't always necessarily have an interest in, but for me, the thing I love about spaces is that I can clone another programmer's space and kind of understand the files, the dependencies, everything to make that app, and then I can use it slightly different. Here's a great video on spaces. So let me load spaces. Let me show you on HuggingFace. Spaces. So these, now some spaces can cost money. It will ask you, and you have to put a credit card in. It's not like they're going to send you a bill. You have to put a credit card in, all this other stuff. You can run a basic one for basically free, but if you want to do like more GPU stuff, they might charge you. So just give you a heads up on that. So here is an AI comic factory. This was not working like an hour ago. We'll see if it is working right now. Story. So a funny story about Harry Potter in rain, I guess. I don't. While thing loads, oh, there we go. So look at that. That's crazy. I've never played with this one. I thought it was another one. Look at that. It made like little cartoons. Interesting. So with spaces, one of the cool things, at least in my opinion, is that you can look for something. PubMed. They spell it today. And you can click on it, and then you can go over here, Files. So this is just basically an apps. So it's going to import Grado, it's going to do the title of it, and boom. So I can clone this. You can also download it to GitHub and work on it on your local desktop too. Sorry. Oh, sorry, I was trying to think if I want to try this or not. Okay, but I guess not. So let me just go, think about this first. Files, and then I want to go to duplicate this space. What do I want to name it? Test. But whether I want the world to see it or just me. And what computer I want, so if I want, a really big, powerful computer, $10 an hour. If I want $1 an hour, free. So I just want something free. I want to duplicate the space. And then I'm going to have this running on a place where I can change it or edit it or upgrade it or play with it. I can do things I want. Now, again, this is really high level in terms of, hey, I can let somebody else, I don't even know what's out here. Some of these are so cool. Stable Diffusion, super popular. Great example. A picture of students programming on a old vintage computer. I know a lot of you use Stable Diffusion on other sites like, I don't remember whether they were Deep AI or Stable AI, but here, I can literally copy it and modify it on my own. Look at that. Files. So here's what is required, the requirements to run it. You have to have a, requirement. Here's the apps. So again, and I mean, this is high level enough that anybody can actually use it. Right there. So that's kind of what spaces are. Let's try that again. So what are I went back to this notebook just because I want to see what was done. What are the latest achievements in renewable energies? Renewable energies are those natural resources, sun, wind, land, thermal, blah, blah. And I mean, it wrote, solar panels are becoming increasingly affordable and efficient. They can generate electricity even on cloudy days. I mean, it generated like a paragraph. Finally, there are also renewable energy technologies that use geothermal heat to blow. I mean, look, it generated great text. And this would, I mean, it's a little bit more than just 3 or 4 lines of code. But still, I'm actually using, I mean, and you can use the 7 billion one at Google. It just takes a little longer to download. And this is a phenomenal model. And literally on par with ChatGPT 3.5, maybe better. Depends on who you ask and how you test it. But again, unlike pipelines, you have to download this to use it. So let me copy this notebook to the homework you guys have, or to the class copy. Pause. Okay, so I just posted that there. Okay, let's see what else we have. I guess I could actually grab this video too. So now, the teachback. What is the teachback? Your next big project, and I pushed it back 14 days, just to give you a little bit more time because spring break and everything. So basically, I need you to teach me something. I need you to teach the next class of students something. I need you to be able to take your discoveries. You know, you have a research proposal, which is about halfway done being graded, and let's say you get funding to do it, and you do your research proposal, in the future. Now you have to take your research proposal and teach somebody it. And this is one of the key differences between people who get jobs. It's one of the key differences between people who make money, people that do very well, and people who don't, is the ability to articulate and explain things at an easy level. And it's very, very difficult. So this, I'm hoping this project helps facilitate problem solving in teams. In a larger company, it reduces silos. If you had to teach a student, you have to kind of transfer knowledge. This improves decision making because you can't teach for hours. You have to figure out what is vital to teach and what's not vital to teach. Okay? So let's talk about this a little bit. Okay, so 10,000 foot overview. The simplest way I can explain it is you have to teach your classmates, the students coming in for this class next semester or next year, or you have to solve a problem using technology and explain how you solved it. I just need you to teach something technology or LLM or big data related. It's relatively simple. Don't overthink that part of it. It's less about what you try to teach it and more about how you try to teach it. Now let's talk about the MVPs, the minimally viable products. What do you need to turn in to get an A? That's what we all want to know, right? Well, A, you need to have a 1 to 2 page outline, draft, something that shows me you put thought into this. Okay? Hey, this is the topic, this is why it's important, this is who I'm going to teach, and here's some bullet points I'm going to teach. That's fine. It can be 1 page of a word outline. I'm happy with that. I just need to know that you're not going to get on a video camera and just start talking and blabbing and going all over the place. Word diarrhea is what they call that. So, due by April 2nd, just 1 person in your team. The teams have been assigned. I checked over spring break, made sure that the people that dropped this class were out of the teams. Everyone has a 3-person team except for I think 1 person, which has a 1 team that has 4 people. But everyone's in a 3-person team. You can divvy up the work however you want. But basically, 1 person per team is going to upload an outline by April 2nd. Then another person is going to make a video or upload a video or do something explaining that outline or doing a teach back. Okay? So, the video has to be at least 8 minutes long, and I really don't want it to go more than about 20-30 minutes. Okay? If possible, upload it to YouTube. If you don't want to show your face or you're hesitant to upload it to YouTube, I'll be happy to create a Dropbox link where you can just upload it to me. Uploading it to Web Campus is horrible. So when the actual project is due, you can upload the outline and say, hey, here's a link to the video. but it has to be at least 8 minutes of video. Now, if you include PowerPoint presentations, that's better. You include a PDF, that's better. Last semester, a few students asked me if they could do a collection of short videos. For some topics that's more logical, that works too. Just make sure it's about 8 to 10 short, TikTok style 1-minute videos. That's fine. Whatever works best for you. Now let me actually get down to a little bit more of the nuts and bolts of it. Okay, so let me actually go to the what's due next. Okay, so all you need to do is, for the outline that's due April 2nd, April 2nd, what are you planning to teach? Who's the target audience? What problem does it solve, or how does it help? General outline or a few paragraphs of what the key points are. So, if you were going to teach RAID technology to the next class of coming in next semester, maybe you had a hard time understanding what RAIDs on hard drives are, or a redundant array of inexpensive disks. I don't know why I picked that. Just easy, low-hanging fruit. So I would say in my Word document, I am planning to teach about RAID hard drives and RAID setups and the advantages of using RAIDs to deal with big data. My target audience is maybe graduate students that are taking this class next semester because I had a hard time understanding RAID. I had a hard time understanding the concept, and I would like it to be easier for the next round of students to do this. The problem it solves is it makes it easier for students to learn RAID so they can focus maybe on more complex topics. My general outline would be, what is a RAID? How has it evolved over time? What are the different RAID levels? RAID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever the other ones are, 50. No, I just asked ChatGPT to make me an outline. What are the pros of using a RAID? What are the cons of using a RAID? Are there other competing technologies like HFS? It's not really the same, but a distributed file system, like object storage, like an object storage system, like AWS S3. Things like this. That would kind of be, the general outline. So that's kind of due by April 2nd. Again, only one person upload it from your team. So if you have 3 people in your team, you figure out who has to upload it, and they upload it. So that's the teachback outline draft. The actual teachback is right here. I'm going to go a little bit more in detail now. So I want you to basically create a comprehensive professional video presentation with your team that should demonstrate a thorough understanding of a specific business tool, method, and its practical applications in addressing a challenge. RAID. What does RAID solve? It solves, having, it solves a bunch of different things. Having a disk go bad, losing all your data. It also allows us to have larger chunks of data, larger hard drives. This doesn't necessarily have to be on large language models. It doesn't have to be on machine learning. It doesn't have to be on NLP. As long as it's kind of technology related, I'm happy. If you have questions, email me and I'll approve your topic. In a nutshell, select an NLP or big data concept. Identify a problem, like the RAID, like I did. Prepare a draft and outline. Highlight its advantages. Create a teaching video. Upload and share. Now, students that do generally better on this, I've noticed they also make supporting materials like a handout, a code they share, documentation they share. If you submit extra materials, I will not mark you down on that. So if you do a video and you have an outline and it's okay, but you miss something, you miss a key point, by looking at supporting material and it's there, I'll mark you up. So supporting materials I will never mark you down for. I would prefer that you upload it to YouTube or somewhere so you're not uploading 5 gig files to Web Campus. I can provide a Dropbox link, or you can upload to Google Drive and share the link. That works also. You can post the supporting material on Web Campus in the assignment part. And if you want, like I said, you can do a bunch of shorter videos. Like I said, try not to overthink this. I'm more interested in how you explain the problem and how you're presenting the video. If you have any questions, let me know. I would like you to contact your team this week, the week of after spring break. Make sure you've emailed everyone on your team. If you don't know where your team is, go to People, go to Teachback, and you should be in one of these teams. Okay, they're randomly assigned. If you have a problem with your team, if one member doesn't work, or if there's a problem, let me know. Let's talk about the homework. So you have 2 videos this week. My main goal for you is to watch the first video and understand like how Altrex uses, topic modeling, pipeline, and then to watch a HuggingFace video and pipelines and be like, oh my God, I can totally see this being used in an iPhone. I can totally see this being used in Word. I can totally see this being used in Excel. I want you to contact your team members for the group teachback. I want you to maybe exchange phone numbers, contact the team. Sorry about that. And make sure that you guys are starting to spitball an idea of what your teachback should be. You have a discussion this week. You didn't have one for spring break. The midterm, I'll get to part 2, the grading, but that's both midterm part 1 and part 2 are due kind of this week. Also, BERT topic is due, I think, on Wednesday. So make sure you do all that work. If you have any questions, contact me, email me. But I know there's a lot of little things. I'm hoping to close out the midterm, hoping to close out BERT topic, get those things out of the way. I'm hoping that you will contact your team members and, do the discussion and then play with HuggingFace. Really, just play with HuggingFace. You'll be amazed at what you can do with pipelines and models. Look at other people's codes, search on GitHub if you need, but it's truly amazing what HuggingFace can do. I hope you had a great spring break. Stay safe. If you have any questions, email me. Thank you.